and as a result, they will be kind of taking the back foot there. My concern already for this clutch composition, though, is you're all physical damage. Yes, there is some AP from the Sylas, but jungle Sylas is not going to be the one to kill Santorin on his Sejuani and things like that. So, you know, you are potentially going to have some difficulty getting through things like Azonias, which can be built onto WildTurtle, Azonias, which could even be built potentially, you know, on this Karma later on. So things like Tabbies become extremely efficient, and that is a little bit of a concern against any sort of front line.
If he can get Ezreal to have a giant backpack and finally get a good income, he can get his loot-ins, his Gunblade later, but later is kind of the key word there. It's so far gone in the game, it's an expensive build.
Yeah, and maybe he will go for that sort of hybrid style, and maybe it won't actually come into play whatsoever. But definitely a more kind of diverse damage profile coming out here from FlyQuest, and Clutch certainly very heavily physical. We'll see if they're going to be able to make it happen, though, in this potential final game of the series.
We'll see what the teams have. I know Huni and Damonte have always looked so determined after these games to reassure and let the fans know they understand what happened. The wins will come. They have worked so hard for this, and we see what it means to them to take the loss in that situation here. Now they're trying to find the win. Game point against FlyQuest for the first regional qualifier. Can FlyQuest keep themselves alive in this best-of-5 series? We'll find out right now.
Yeah, the winner of this will have to go on to play against CLG tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the winner of that immediately then plays TSM the day after. So very little time for preparation, very little time for rest, as you say. Especially if you're going to a Game 5, that is tiring.
There's the pump up from the home crowd. They definitely want to be feeling it at this point. Mountain Drake is going to be first. Again, eye on the 10-minute mark as we get a little dance off in mid lane. Love to see it. We'll see how Clutch Gaming uses the Abyssal Voyage. A lot of times at the end of the split, we saw teams being very active with the movement, kind of controlling a play, going for an inhibitor, all the way back to Baron, all the way across map for an engage with the teleports. A little slow on the usage this game, or just in intention, they haven't been doing that as much. So see if they activate that a little more and pick up the Abyssal Voyage usage.
Yeah, definitely would be interesting to see if they want to prioritize those side lanes. I do think that when you're looking at a team composition like the Gnar and the Irelia, you're looking to play pretty heavily through side lanes. You know, you're looking to play, you know, that 1-3-1 sort of style with Ezreal kind of safely wave clearing in the mid lane, you know, alongside the Tahm Kench and the Sylas, who can then potentially join a side lane with that Abyssal Voyage like you're talking about. So that is definitely what they are looking for. And it looks like it's actually going to be the lane swap. So Pobelter will be the one to try to go up to this top lane. They want to opt out of this Riven versus Gnar matchup, which is going to be, you know, very difficult in the early levels, especially for that Riven, you know, in the melee versus ranged matchup. And they will be sending Riven mid lane to deal with this Irelia.
See, once
they
pan out, we could get switched. Red buff not connecting just yet. Gets the slow on. Pobelter with the super fancy feet. Gonna have the minion wave to also dance through as he slaloms to safety against the level 2 Lira gank from Sylas.
Yeah, Lira missed everything. He didn't hit the Q, he didn't hit the E. You know, Pobelter, just really nice little jukes there. Constantly juking backwards, faking that little movement to be able to avoid both of those. If you get connected on by those abilities, you have to flash at the very least. Instead, it's just some wasted time there from Lira, and Santorin will be kind of happily chugging ahead of him in that jungle.
Very big play there, because it probably wouldn't happen if that was going to be a Riven top. So Pobelter to actually dodge that one out really, really helps the team in this early game. Well played by him. They will continue the CS as he's waiting for Huni to push that in as we watch a bit of mid lane. Corrupting Potion for Damonte to do that early damage versus the Riven of Viper, as we see now switched them up on the screen so you can equal those out as you're looking at inventories and the champion list.
The one thing that I did kind of get from that gank is, you know, both potions were actually used by Pobelter. He is going Biscuits, so we'll have some additional regen available, but you know, Huni was really trying to work him down. And when you actually watch the level 1 where he was kind of ignoring the minions and just auto-attacking, that makes much more sense now when you see that the level 2 gank came in.
Prep him.
He was trying to spend his HP, just trying to trade and whittle him down low for that potential gank that would come in. And, you know, as a result, it doesn't work. You know, he kind of trades some damage out himself and did take a tower shot, which costs his potion and means he's gonna have to go back to base.
Nice timing as well. Pobelter's about to get a push on the wave. Doesn't even have to use a ward to do it. So this feels really great for the first flow of his beginning of the game. He'll get a safe back if he even wants it yet. And yeah, why not take it? That much CS already. Top lane, or top scuttle is going to be grabbed up by Santorin. He also got bottom as well, so that feels really nice to be flying around the jungle as Lira. Took a little time in that early top lane gank. Love on damage here. Beautiful job by both of them. Damonte saying, sure, fight me in a bunch of minions as I pull you back to my turret. And Viper knows the deal. He's always in that solo lane fight mode.
Yeah, Irelia really depends a lot on kind of the outplay, on dodging out on abilities and being really evasive. And, you know, if you're anywhere even in the vicinity of that Riven, you hit the W, that's a stun. You know, you can kind of chain that into your third Q as well. And Viper is such a confident Riven player that, you know, these trading patterns certainly can be difficult, but you see Damonte still, you know, kind of holding that CS advantage and is playing pretty comfortably in this mid lane.
Push in a quick sweep, and now he's kind of getting that information of what's been done by Lira. Of course, he was slow as Gromp respawns, so be able to steal that. But on the other side of the map, we also have it going down. So, oh, never mind. I'm like, yeah, he's stealing it. I mean, flies back onto his own side.
You know, he's like a full level behind off of that top lane play. Loses both scuttles, falls behind as far as the farming speed. So Lira certainly, you know, pretty behind there as Santorin will hit 5 on his next creep. So, you know, feeling quite good about that situation. You can see barely crested 4 there for Lira. You know, not the end of the world, but you know, there is definitely a cost to those sort of early game plays when you look for them. If they don't happen, it's so easy for these top-level junglers to be able to simply punish you by out-farming.
It's like the earlier the mistake, the more it counts, right? And the more it can stick and become a very, very big issue. Later in the game, you have a bit of time to repair things. But it's really trying to find out where the jungler is, outpath him. Skirmisher Sabres for both of them right now, with a bit more HP on the side of Santorin if they do decide to meet. And Lira's pretty low on mana at this point, so he may not be showing himself too soon. Turtle teleports back to bot. Pretty even CS here as they start picking up some first items.
Yeah, but they should have a pretty good idea of where he is. You know, these nice little wards here dropped over by Santorin. So, you know, even the fact that you don't see he's kind of in this quadrant of the map allows you to have an idea that, all right, his Wraith Straw respawned. He was up there on the top side. You know now he's going to be working his way down here as Huni is just going to drop the ultimate for a nice little trade. I feel like, you know, thinking back, I actually don't think we saw a single ultimate from Gnar or a stolen Gnar ultimate.
Just at the end, when they hit him in the Nexus is about it. Yeah, you're right, though. That's what I was saying. Pobelter needs to steal the Gnar ultimate last game. Never happened. You are right, though. It was such a spread-out map, the way they were playing it. They really didn't need to get everybody in at once, and the split push was working out for them. Probably the same thing that's going to happen here if they don't turn into a giant death ball with this composition at some point.
Yeah, and I think they definitely want to have more of that spread-out play. You know, fighting 5v5 as this team, you know, into this Sejuani, into this Riven, and you know, grouping up for the potential CC that could come through from the con could be dangerous as well. But that being said, if you can get ahead, well, then the math kind of changes.
Oh, nice arcane shift. Wadid down to 200 HP there as Vulcan just misses the lick. They still could get a few on there. Tahm Kench's lick passives wear off one at a time. They don't just fall off, so you want to keep that play going.
Yeah.
You keep trying to lick them.
That was actually really nice from Cody Sun, by the way. You know, on that engage, he did the arcane shift, which is, you know, pretty standard to be able to react, but he actually did a very small arcane shift so that he would be right in range to immediately be auto-attacking instead of actually pulling so far back. So, you know, he stayed in range to get the additional trade back on the exit there for Wadid, which I thought was actually very clever and quite well played.
Little extra calculations to make it look that much cleaner. Must have been a sale on those mana crystals. Ton picked up by Clutch here.
Synergy.
Yep, synergy back in lane. They know they're going to need so much mana for the next fight. Turtle taking quite a bit of damage here as that brush control is grabbed over by Vulcan. They're starting to get pretty good on HP in that lane, so they can start to add a bit of an advantage. And now, 8.5 minutes in, Pobelter and Huni back and forth on the minion waves at 68 for Huni and 58 for Pobelter. So not too shabby for the Karma getting pushed around, as you would expect.
Yeah, definitely not too bad. You know, Karma, though, it does like to have that kind of early game presence because oftentimes Karma is building into kind of supportive items later on. So, you know, if you are not doing well in the early laning phase, things can be difficult is that was pretty cute from Cody Sun. Hit the W, back up into the brush on a pink ward for the ultimate, knowing that they cannot actually spot that coming out. And these guys are getting so low. Turtle's going to have to go back to base very likely.
Especially with the Tahm Kench. You can just get devoured on the dive and you're good to go on the exit. So playing very careful behind the minion wave here. And a great pressure coming from this bot lane who said, yeah, we don't want help. We're Ezreal Tahm Kench. But at some point we are going to try to take over. And they have.
And there's also no TP available for WildTurtle. So this means likely, going to lose this entire wave. And that is just extending that advantage that has been developed here by Cody Sun and Vulcan. Having a superior laning phase, certainly thus far.
Did they go top? It's the 40 seconds before Rift comes up, so they decide to not take plate number 4, and now they're heading towards mid lane. So again, it looks like at least Vulcan is going to be putting that pressure towards top.
They're calling the swap. They're essentially saying, we know you're going to go top, so we're just going to swap earlier to be up there for the answer. So, FlyQuest has made adjustments to try to deal with this sort of a play. Pobelter will be going down to the bottom side. Part of the problem is, though, Pobelter has no TP. So Clutch can have the extra man up here for this potential play.
Whoa, Vanguard's edge goes down. Viper still has a chance to attack back. He throws down the wind slash from the Riven ultimate. It looks like this pressure, though, a little caught off guard. All of the bottom lane, WildTurtle and Wadid went top, so that mid pressure actually got Cody. A few members first. There's the Gnar ult coming out from Huni. Level 6 is here. That is a quick killer instinct over the wall. Turtle's going to get hit, but not die. And he's going to stay alive with about 110 HP.
Yeah, that was actually really clever there, though, from Turtle. Really calm play to hold on to the flash. So it is flash ultimate down for Huni. They will get the Rift Herald, but they were probably already going to get the Rift Herald because Pobelter was bot and had no TP. So Clutch, again, navigate the map. Despite the fact that FlyQuest knows it's happening, they just seem to kind of handle their resources better. Having the TP last game on the AD, I believe it was, or maybe that was 2 games ago actually, but also having an additional TP this time around. They kind of know their limits as far as when they can look for these plays, and as a result, just consistently grabbing that up for themselves. But at least this time, there was a little bit of a reward back as Pobelter gets a plate, or maybe even 2 plates there, because I think that may have been a 5-plate turret previous to him going down.
Yeah, it's kind of that point where Karma can start ripping out the damage and it hurts. Huni took an inner flame there, both first and second part, and he was like, okay, I'll wait behind the turret for the next one. Few plates towards this top side going in favor of Clutch. It looks like, I thought that was Rift Herald for a second. It was just the back, trolled by Sylas. And they'll wait for that one. Rift Herald still in the hands of Lira on his Sylas, and they may actually, if they can get a lot of damage on top, they've been putting it mid in the side channels right when they get everybody back to that spot.
Yeah, we'll see if he can make some sort of a play. He has a couple minutes this time to actually set it up. And I mean, your ideal world really is you get a kill and then you drop it and you get a lot out of it. It's not always a possibility, but certainly would like to make it happen if he can. Otherwise, kind of the minimum is really just dropping it for the 2 plates in mid lane, which is usually pretty safe, pretty short lane. You can kind of just walk up and plop that down for a couple hundred gold.
Feels good. And they've gotten it each time, even pressured by FlyQuest on the previous times. We said maybe stalling it until it's used so it doesn't get used for plates is one way to mitigate the pressure that it gives. But I do credit Clutch for being able to have that on their marker and make the game work at 10 minutes for them to get it. Still hold their plates, most of them at least. Gold is pretty even here as we come up on 12.5 minutes in the game. A few buffs resetting, so junglers are going to pick those ones up. And we see now a bit of a roam team between Santorin and Wadid sticking together here as they're leaving Turtle to farm alone on the top side.
And this is something they've done previously as well, where they do kind of like to at times just funnel additional experience into Turtle, giving him more of that solo XP, gather the jungler up with that support. And they're going to drop that Rift top to try to funnel more gold into Cody Sun. We'll see if he's actually close enough to collect these plates. He is moving up very intelligently, so we'll be able to get all that gold, and that is 320 right into his pocket. No one else was in range, so that is not split with the jungler.
He's 300 gold short of 2,000 right now, too, so that turret goes down, and he's sitting on a big chunk of cash. The team is, for that matter. Ultimate goes through. Quick battle dance for health, HP save. And it looks like they won't give the pressure onto this. Not enough forward wards here, and possibility of Santorin on the other side. So Clutch trying to take control here of the way the lanes are moving, but FlyQuest is answering pretty well.
Yeah, definitely the case. As We can see more trading here down on that bottom side. And it's kind of been interesting to watch the evolution of Ezreal. You know, it feels like now in pro play, the ult is all about poke, all about wave control. You know, you're seeing players now when the Ezreal comes out, essentially just ulting on cooldown to try to chip people out, try to get out potions, try to send them back to base, thin out waves. You know, it's much more about that and much less about trying to use it for finishing off a kill or kind of looking for that 100-0 type play.
Getting the last highlight snipe. That's so great. We saw a composition just the other week was the Caitlyn and the Lux. One of my favorite ones because if you try to block acing the hole, both of you take a laser. It's great bottom lane synergy. Get that out of a few ultimates if you had a true shot barrage and you needed someone to block it. But not the case. But Cody Sun has been nailing him. Actually frozen Gauntlet to start this off too. Knowing he's dealing with a lot of speed, people can catch up to him. He's going to say, I'm creating a slow field so I can create distance.
Yeah, and Riven is always just so frightening as an AD. You know that you've seen so many of those highlight plays. If Riven gets the flash on you and 100-0 you with that physical damage, so Iceborne going to help to actually survive through that. So we'll see where he does go from here, as he's already got that really, really powerful early 2 items that Ezreal does love to get. And Huni, interestingly enough, has actually rushed the Frozen Mallet this game around. So not going for the CDR. You know, this is more about that side lane play, being able to slow down Pobelter, kind of stay on top of him.
Love it.
And try to whittle him down in a side lane.
Really neat little adaptations coming out here that they can happen all the time. It's just the players choose to go with the items they know, the play they're going to get through the team play. But here, we see that Frozen Mallet beautifully coming out. Iceborne Gauntlet as well. Let's see if these little adaptations from Clutch Gaming allow them to get more of a lead in this game. Looking at about 2K gold lead here as we got to fight towards the bot side. There's a Gnar ultimate, and they are just able to crush down Pobelter right away. Tries to throw down that Inspire shield to keep himself up, but not enough, and that's his first death of the game.
Yeah, that's first blood, actually.
It is first blood. It's pretty late.
15 minutes in. First kill finally does come in there, and yeah, Pobelter had flash, but just decided that once he got locked up, I guess he thought, nope, I'm going down. There's no use in actually blowing that summoner. They do get the kill, which is likely going to mean Huni will probably get the turret here on the bottom side as well. So, you know, additional reward going to be available for them. And again, Clutch feels like they are ahead, you know, in the turret pressure, right? You know, this is 2 turrets to 0 again. Last game, they were very heavily ahead in that regard. At least FlyQuest has grabbed some dragons, kind of battle back a little bit in that neutral fight here.
Let's see this one more time. Our latest first blood this split.
Oh, wow.
Coming in here onto Pobelter.
Yeah, just a really nice CC chain. Flash ulti into that wallop, and then the abscond abduct following that up. No real room in that CC chain. Pobelter maybe could have flashed right out, but it's like,
oh, that's the thick wall.
End, you often well, and you often just die as you're flashing, right? So I think it's probably intelligent in that spot to just hold on to it. But I'm going to be interested to see where Pobelter actually goes with his build from here, because very often we have been seeing this become, you know, an Athenes or an Ardent or things along those lines. But when you build that sort of style and you're stuck in a side lane against the Gnar,
you're helping.
Yeah, exactly. You're not really helping anyone.
Yeah.
So, you know, that is kind of the conundrum there. You know, Karma really does want to bully the early lane, then build these support items to group up.
Oh boy, fights on all fronts here. I like it. They had Lira in a quarrel with Pobelter, so topside Raptor fight coming out. Again, Cody Sun on cooldown, ripping out the true shot barrage, and he'll get that CD back on Mystic Shots.
Yeah, and Pobelter did at least force out the flash from Lira. Vulcan had the flash out there as well, so FlyQuest does go positive in summoners and will get a little bit of pressure. But again, who's answering who, right? You know, no one's even actually heading down here on this side of the map. Now it's getting pinged out. You can see, you know, Pobelter making his way down from the mid lane, but you know, this pressure is going to be there, kind of like omnipresent, just non-stop pushing him in.
And Huni can maximize it too. He has wards all the way down to the bot. Now he's going to teleport top because he feels like the dive is coming in, and they do kind of have enough room to teleport back, waste or lose that pressure on bot lane and start it somewhere else.
That was pretty slick though from FlyQuest. You know, just threatening that dive. Viper goes forward, doesn't really commit to it, doesn't even blow the ultimate, then just backs out as soon as that TP comes in. So now it is kind of the shoe on the other foot as someone will have to answer Pobelter down in that bottom lane. As Huni is not there and no one is really in the area. So we could actually see FlyQuest get their first turret in the bottom lane off of this. And I think they may be able to do it. It's very low.
Pings towards the top. They're wondering We don't have much vision up here. They could be coming down towards River, but Vulcan has them covered on that side. Cleanse for him on his unsealed spellbook right now. Remember, that could come up big for the objectives later in the game. And now we're starting to get spread out to see how these lanes might continue to play out. Viper versus Damonte now towards the top side. We'll keep Gnar in the bottom. Huni versus Pobelter as it goes. He's going mid, though.
Yeah, just looking to try to push out and then group up to try to shove up for this tower. This is clearly the clutch game plan, is they want to pressure towers. And this is the last outer remaining, so Huni will push out a wave, he will group, and they will try to use Ezreal poke to make FlyQuest back off and give them access to those towers. And the dragon is also up here as well, so it's another thing to fight for. Damonte's up on the line. That was a great true shot barrage.
Full 5-man hit there on the side of FlyQuest, and they have to turn away. This is going to be a Cloud Drake going over to Clutch. Damonte's just on the bottom side. If they win this fight, they possibly also get mid lane, but they could also just get it if they trend that way, get the global gold, get the dragon, and move out with the advantage. Here it looks like the waves are thinning a bit, but they do ping for mid.
Yeah, very interesting call to actually make that teleport play. I feel like after they landed that poke, you could just keep Damonte top lane.
Enjoy that advantage.
Exactly. Pressure the tower. You don't need to necessarily extend for more.
Yeah.
You know, get that farm, take the dragon that you had already earned off of that all that additional poke. Instead, they try to go for that big fight. He does trade his teleport essentially and ult for the flash of WildTurtle, which is nice. Yeah. But there's no guaranteed cash in on that, whereas turret damage is always going to be very valuable.
Get it, Huni. He's just having the time of his life in the river, running around getting scuttles. 0-0-1 for him. Goes to the Merc Treads next up. Kind of a late call, but it seems like he's already stacked that one up.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. As he knows he's going to be in the side lanes and it's going a bit longer, why not get a little bit more resources for yourself in the process?
Yeah, he's already stacked that one up, had it for a while, so
yep.
Cashed in on the 100 CS, and going to be feeling pretty good about that additional gold in his pocket as a result. Back down here to this bottom lane. Game plan will remain the same. Cody Sun looking to stop that.
Balls of steel in this kid.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the Tahm Kench behind him. He's feeling confident that they cannot actually take him down. And, in this position certainly was right. But it's been a very kind of slow back and forth here between these two teams. Clutch certainly feels like they are pretty heavily in the advantage. 5,000 gold ahead now is a huge deal. But that being said, FlyQuest certainly do have a pretty powerful team fight and are going to have their opportunities. We know that there can be some incredible highlight plays coming out of Viper on this Riven, and he likely will have to be one of the guys doing a lot of the heavy lifting in this sort of a composition.
Remember, whoever takes this series has a long road ahead of them in defeating CLG and TSM, but right now it's all about game point here for Clutch. FlyQuest backs against the wall as they attempt a slight engage, thwarted by Clutch as they step off slowly on that, and Glacial Prison will be down.
Yeah, Vulcan able to actually just tank that and then cleanse it out. He was so good, you'll remember in the earlier Braum game, at absorbing all of those Sejuani ultimates, so his positioning has been incredible in this series. Cody Sun still had to flash, though. Was actually nervous about being flashed on by Viper, who was approaching, so he did decide to early flash. It has been FlyQuest really, it feels like, getting the better of the summoner trades, but they never feel like they're able to actually capitalize. Now they're going in on Cody Sun.
He gets flattened back. Can he live from this one? A great hit coming in from Wadid. They did not stop until they got their target, even with the help from Vulcan there. Exhaust even went down. Damonte's pushing down now towards that top lane.
And this could be Baron. They could actually try to go towards this. 22 minutes in, pretty early, so Baron will be dealing some damage here, but they are going to look to try to take this. They know they have been on the back foot this whole game, and they are trying to make that pick count.
This has to happen for FlyQuest, or it's going to be much more difficult. Remember, it's go for broke for them, as this could be the final game of their split. They're still looking for a fight on this one, but they're also looking to get in a better position before they find it. Lira could go down. He's devoured by Vulcan, and that's going to keep them alive, as Huni is now in the middle of 3. Damonte Zanyas. Could he stay alive? Could he go down? And he does go down. That's going to be a big pickup there for WildTurtle, as Clutch is now looking for the stragglers. There's a lot of low HP. Huni's almost in range. He hits him with the clock house, and Santorin will still make it out alive. But it's up to WildTurtle now to make a great escape. Huni's gonna slow him. Plasma Burst almost coming out. True Shot Barrage coming through the shield. Oh my god, Wadid with the grand entrance to Battle Dance back to save his teammates but keep the fight going. Lira now gonna be the one
Cody
to go
Sun's
down.
here.
Vision's there. Lira goes in. He almost gets the Kingslayer kill, but he goes down to the hands of WildTurtle. Now they're onto the rest of Clutch, and what a chaotic fight, but it comes up in the favor of FlyQuest.
Oh my god, the 2 for 0 for FlyQuest. That was one of the longest fights I have seen in a while. Feeling like it started when Cody Sun died, and he's back there by the end of it. So here it is one more time. Clutch did a really good job of actually kiting out the initial engage. Huni backing off, Lira with the stolen Sejuani ult, slowing things down. The poke comes through, and they decide to look for the turn. But Pobelter flashes the initial engage, and despite the fact that the Irelia ultimate went across so many members, he couldn't actually dive in to follow up. So it is Huni by himself in that backline trying to 1v2. The Irelia does fall down, but they say, hey, we can actually continue the chase.
Cody Sun's still coming back.
Yeah, Cody Sun is now spawned. He's running back. You know you have the Frozen Mallet and Huni, so they felt like they could look to try to chase this one out. But look at that passive proc, brings Huni to almost no health. Then the ult over the wall from Sejuani gets him even closer to death. Now we're back to live, and Cody Sun is getting engaged on again.
That almost like a straight replay from the kill before. We go right back into it. Lira, huge damage as he comes in. Proto Belt down, and he is going to be able to take down Pobelter. Snap Judgment from Clutch coming right back out and engaging back on FlyQuest's first engage.
Yeah, those picks were pretty big for FlyQuest, but now trying to look for it here on Cody Sun again. They knew his flash was still down, but it didn't actually work out for them this time as the skill shots were on point. The Devour was there. You see the stolen Karma ult, the Monster Q hitting Pobelter, all of the Mystic shots from Cody Sun hitting him as well. And that put them in the position to make that a 1-4-0. They are going to take the Dragon off the back of this as well. They're going to take the red buff, so Clutch coming up with a lot of little wins on the back of that failed FlyQuest play.
See it one more time. FlyQuest feeling good. They just came off of that Baron fight. Let's go again, but it's not ending in the same result.
No, it definitely isn't. So what prompted that is the Arcane Shift being used, but Vulcan pre-devours him before they both get CC'd, which is exactly what you want to do. And then every Q coming through from Cody Sun was hitting Pobelter, and the Mantra
Inner Flame was pretty
there,
sick.
Yeah. Woo! Just absolutely lit up
I like the way everything is happening from both teams right now. They're really playing to their top notch and trying to make that game end for the side of Clutch and keep it alive for the side of FlyQuest.
Also worth noting, Pobelter is going more for that pure AP build. He is continued towards double spell pen. He's looking to build a Morellos. And Huni going a very non-standard build here on the Gnar. This is a no CDR build that he actually is going for right now. He has picked up the Sterix. So this is a tremendous amount of health and tankiness. And it is going to be setting himself up pretty well to frontline in these team fights while still being fairly effective in the side lane against Pobelter potentially here, with that Frozen Mallet for any punish that he could put on an overextension from Pobelter.
Now you need a crazy Huni item in there. What would it be? He just puts Blade of the Rune
Rapid
King
Fire.
out of Rapid Fire. Blade of the Rune King out of nowhere. Let's go.
Rage Blade.
Rage Blade.
That used to be that was the old Huni build, and he used to go like PD, Rage Blade, all kinds of stuff on Gnar. So I wouldn't put it past him. If he wants to go for the split push, he can go for a full damage item build.
We'll know exactly what he buys next. He has 1,500 gold, so when he goes back, we'll have that recipe item. And we'll get an idea. Santorin, Arctic Assault forward.
Lira steals it.
He did. Quite a bit of damage delivered back, but not a full engage. You can see Cody Sun being able to deliver quite a bit, but he also takes a hit there from the Void Seeker, and that hurts.
Yeah, and Cody Sun uses QSS on that ultimate as well. So he still has the Tahm Kench behind him, but you can see he made the pit stop after that third item, Blade of the Rune King. Did grab his QSS, which is going to be on cooldown. Turtle on the other side, sitting on 3 completed items there. He is going kind of this AP build. I talked about how Clutch is very heavily physical. On the other side, Turtle is going this more AP style build to kind of help circumvent that, right? You have some AP with Rage Blade. He has the Nashers here. Would not be surprised to see something like a Death Cap Zonia's last type items, similar to what we saw from Cody Sun earlier, where you have the really powerful poke and more magic damage coming through.
Those half-health chunks coming out. He's doing right now. I'm not even going to try to do that math. It's quite a bit. But his W's doing a lot of damage.
He's doing a big number.
Yeah, big number. 3-0, that's what's going to happen when you're throwing bags of money at people. They sting a little bit. Press the attack on that Kaisa, so as long as he keeps it going, the rest of the team is going to be able to get in there and do good damage too. So Vision Ward's being pushed up now. Clutch has good control of the river, but when we see their wins, usually they're able to encroach that vision much farther into the side of FlyQuest. So slow at the moment, but they still have that idea in mind to move forward. We're at 30 minutes into the game, and this is about when we should see Clutch start to turn on and look for the end.
Yeah, FlyQuest kind of has this line right here of defensive vision where they're going to try to use this to springboard forward into checking the river. They don't have vision right on the Baron, but this gives them kind of this safety net where they're like, all right, well, we know this much is safe, so you can move here, then send the Sejuani in first to try to poke in towards that river. And that is an important thing to have, as Clutch has been kind of controlling the mid lane. And this is why we see everyone from FlyQuest go to mid lane, shove this up. Once mid lane gets pushed up, they are going straight towards that Baron, but at the same time, you can see the side lanes are being shoved in here by Clutch. So Clutch is playing heavily to this 1-3-1, and FlyQuest either has to try to match that slip push or try to engage elsewhere. But that is very difficult when it's Ezreal, Tahm, Kench you're trying to engage onto.
Just cleaning up waves from lane to lane right now. Viper by himself on the bot side of the map. Probably won't be touched for too long. Doesn't even have too much vision to do so. This is kind of a drastic and fast push out by them, and he needs to get back to base. Pings from Huni here. Throws down a ward, and if he wants to fight, he'll probably play, but it's going to be a quick ward clear, or minion clear, sorry.
Yeah, and he did go towards the stone plate, so much more of the team fight frontline style. He knows he is really the only
Infinity
true
Edge
frontliner.
next then.
yeah, stone plate into Infinity Edge. Very standard stuff. Definitely could expect that. But you know, this is him knowing that he has to be able to soak that damage. He has to be the true front line.
Right.
Kaisa is going to get to the point where you're certainly going to be dealing a lot of damage. This is a lot of health. The Steric Shield, in addition to, you know, you jump in, you Mega Gnar, you use your initial round of combo, and then you actually drop the Stone Plate for that damage reduction. But they are looking like they could try to push out FlyQuest here. They would love to grab themselves a Mountain Dragon.
Focus, resolve, locking Huni down for a quick moment. There's a Void Seeker hitting Lira, so doing a good bit of damage, but not as much as we saw before with those AP items in. Quickness comes down. A lot of damage onto Lira to start things off. Damonte's going to get himself into the fight towards the back line as Wadid goes down first. Santorin and Turtle trying to take down Damonte as now he's resurrecting. They got to figure out what target is the priority, and do they have time? They're about to lose another one, but Viper stays alive, and that's him coming back up. Clutch spent so much time on the resurrecting champion on the side of FlyQuest. It was Viper, and now they're still in this fight and feel like they're on the forefront. Turtle forward, but he has no mana to deliver the damage here, and he's not thrown in the auto attack to deliver that DPS. Lira's back and forth. Just about 1,000 combined health or more on the side of Clutch here as they get themselves back into the fight. We're looking at Huni, he's got quite a bit, but everybody is limping away from this, trying to stop the backs as Cody Sun is again a very back and forth fight, finding one result on either side.
Yeah, so many low health bars there and really slim margins that could have changed that fight a lot. Damonte looked like he actually missed his stun, so, you know, if you track on this teleport, I believe Damonte misses his stun and then fails his reset on the Q, so that really did change quite a lot. Huni disengaging here, they know they have the deep ward. As soon as Lira comes over, you'll notice they donated the blue buff to Cody to try to keep him going for the poke in this fight, and then the TP comes in. He wants to go onto WildTurtle, so you drop one part of the E, you wait till the stealth comes out, then you drop the other part. The ult does not hit. The E does not hit either, but he does Q onto him, so he did not actually get a reset, but in the
FlyQuest get Baron. Huni could be getting out of this one. Focus resolve on him to lock him down. True Shot Barrage is not going to hit too much, but go over the shoulder of FlyQuest. Clutch one in on this one. Here comes FlyQuest from the side, swooping in to take down the members of Clutch Gaming, and they fall one by one. Turtle comes up with a kill right there, but it looks like Damonte's able to actually attack back. And what I thought was FlyQuest taking that dive into the fight. They fall apart mid-air, and Clutch takes that win for themselves.
This might be the game. The minion wave is there right in the mid lane. I don't know if they're going to have enough time, but 40 seconds on Viper, 40 seconds on Pobelter. I think they can end this, Riv.
This is absolutely huge. Clutch backs against the wall coming into a bit of this series, but a lot of people had them as the favorite, and they did find that ground. They found the momentum with fans behind them, and the hope that this could go all the way to Worlds. Clutch Gaming in 4 games is going to look to find their first regional qualifier victory, and they're going to be doing it against FlyQuest and go on to face Counter Logic Gaming.
A clean finish there for Clutch. A decisive win around that Baron. FlyQuest took the Baron, could have retreated, but felt that they had what it would take to turn around that fight, to go back in.